Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sunday School. I hope you had a great week. I hope you had some awesome things happen for you, whether it was at school or at home. Maybe you did really good on a test you had been studying for, or maybe you got to do some fun things at home that you weren't expecting to do with everybody's busy schedules. Um, Whether you're in school or distance learning, I hope it is going well for you. Um, I know that I have a couple here that are at home right now, and it can go really good. And that's awesome. And we are all in this together. So if you ever want to share some of the things you're going through, some good things, or if you're struggling, just let me know. When we as a class, we're all in this together. So this week we're on week 3 of Advent, which is the candle of joy. Now, what do you think of when you hear the word joy? What are some things? Maybe happy. Maybe you feel joy when you get a good birthday present, or you get to have a friend over, or maybe you got to go hang out with your grandma and grandpa, or maybe you became an aunt or an uncle, or you got to purchase something that you had been saving up for. But sometimes, along with the joy, can be sadness, like when you lose a family member or a pet. You have sadness, right? Or if you do not as good on a test, or maybe you weren't super nice to maybe your sibling, so that can make us sad. But even when we're sad, God has given us so much to be thankful and feel joy for every day, no matter how sad we are. And when we think back to the Bible story with Mary, and she finds out that she's going to have not just a doll, not one of the baby dolls that you play with. She is going to have a very, very special baby. She's going to have God's son. And it's just crazy. Do you think right away she was full of joy? How many of you maybe think of it when your mom and dad maybe have an idea and you're like, how, and they say, we promise you it's going to be awesome. And you think, do I have to? And actually it turns out okay. I remember when I was a little kid, when I was a young kid, when I was probably, from the time I was about your age, my siblings, I have 2 siblings that are older, and then I have 2 that are younger. And whenever we would go on a trip, we would go by car. And a lot of those trips would be to visit family that lived in different parts of the area. And they were very fly by the seat of our pants. We didn't sleep in hotel rooms. We would sleep in the car until we got to where we were, and then we would stay with family, and then a couple of times we got to stay in a hotel. And we always listened to really old music, which probably my kids think of my music from the 80s, 90s, that old music. And every time I hear that music today, it brings me back to that. I remember one vacation, that's when we had spring break, and we woke up, went to church, and when we were leaving church, my parents grabbed my grandma and said, that's it, we're driving to Mississippi to visit my uncle. And I remember my dad's crazy driving a little bit, and my grandma had fallen asleep, and he had hit the brakes, and she rolled over and landed on my brother, and she got up and kind of whacked my dad, like, "Where'd you learn how to drive?" Um, and just a lot of memories like that. The one trip where we listened to old music was a 2-week trip, and we drove and visited, and it was just really cool. And then they took us one year by plane to a more vacation place, and it was still fun, and it was so beautiful, and so appreciate that I got to do those things. But the simple ones are the ones that I constantly go back to. The one in the car where we slept in the car in Yellowstone Park, and then went out to Washington State and saw my uncle, and we went crab fishing off the bridge. Um, Went down and saw my sister. Just simple things, and yet the feeling of joy still almost 35 years later is still there. How many of you have ever gotten a Christmas present? You wanted this thing. Like, you wanted it. And I know now as a parent what I was doing to my parents as a kid. But you really, really want something. You know you want it, and when mom asks you why, you're like, and she says, no, you're probably not, you're gonna get sick of it. And how many, when you get it, it's really, really cool. But a week or so later, you realize it's not everything. Or can you remember a toy you got 3 years ago? But how about maybe you went to grandma's house and got to have a sleepover, or maybe your grandpa took you out on the farm, or maybe it was coming to church with grandma, or Sunday school with friends, or some of those memories you'll probably still remember. And when I talked about this tree last week, and that I wanted to get the tree done, because how many of you have your Christmas trees up and decorated? So we normally don't. My husband will not do it before Thanksgiving. Any of you get to decorate your tree before Thanksgiving? You're lucky if you do. No. It's great to wait till after Thanksgiving to remember that separately. Either any way you do it, as long as it's a way that you can be thankful and show your appreciation and remember all that we have to be thankful for. That's awesome. So when we actually got to set up our Christmas tree, I was excited, and I had it planned a while ago that I wanted to put pictures, especially when we went into quarantine. And I wanted these pictures on the tree, not to say, oh, my tree is finished, for it to be finished. So I went through the course of, the rules were the pictures had to be from the time we were locked, from March until now. And we sat at the table as a family and took turns picking what picture we wanted on the tree. And in that moment, boys and girls, it was funny because I don't know, I should tell you, we had some silly memories. JJ just being goofy. We had some fishing pictures, and everybody went around the table and picked different things. Now, we didn't leave the country, we didn't hardly leave the state, hardly left our house, except maybe sometimes to go to our camper. But there was more family time and memories than we've been able to get in the past. And it was a great opportunity to reflect and remember, boys and girls, that no matter how bad things get, God always provides a light and assures us it's going to be okay. I remember one of the first weeks, the girls, we had us do a black tie dinner, and they created their own menu with whatever it was, whether we ate chips and cheese. They had the full menu. They made a restaurant sign, and when my husband got home, he had to dress up. He's in Greece all day, so to dress up is not really his thing, but he did it. And it was so much fun. But it was that they all worked together, they all contributed. We did a taco party at home. We just explored out in the country and did some painting projects. Because for us, no matter what kind of week we were having, we always looked forward to Sundays, going to church, to see our church family, because that has always been the place that I hope you feel that you can be you. Everybody treats you with love and like you are a family member, and you can be safe and loved 100% by everybody in our congregation. And since we weren't able to go to church, we had to rely on each other and then watching Facebook or YouTube for church, which is great that we have that internet capability. But I know I heard a lot of people say, and I do, I miss seeing my kids do things they love, dance, sports, other things, hang out with friends. But I think God pulled us back to say, hey, there's more, and here you go. I saw them enjoy things that I maybe wouldn't have gotten to see them enjoy. You know, I am a terrible golfer. Horrible. Probably embarrasses my husband to bring me on the course because I got a softball swing, and after I broke my elbow this summer, I have to be kind of careful. But all 6 of us went out on the golf course, just for fun, just to try it. JJ and my husband like to golf, so we thought we'd try it. And so when we went through boys and girls and we passed just to look at the pictures and pick each one of us, even my husband, even our 4-year-old, we all took turns picking pictures. And we didn't rush through it. But we printed, and sometimes we had to guess which one they picked. But we remembered those moments and the joy of getting to have those moments. And so for me, it was to remind us as a family, it's some different circumstances right now. Different world that we're living in, and right now we can't come in and be as a church family, which is the hardest thing ever, to not be able to, after no matter what kind of week, to come together as a church family. And I love to sing, and I love all the different aspects of the church, the music, Pastor Randy's sermons, the children's messages. There's so much to take away, and the way you feel inside just gives you that necessary push and that nudge of where God wants us to be and needs us to be. And so for me, it's seeing this tree as a reminder that no matter how bad things get, you know, we lost a pet cat that was outside, and my daughter was devastated. It's hard. But we have pictures on this tree of her with that cat as a reminder of all the good things. There's joy. This isn't even, now I take a lot of pictures, mind you, but this is just a portion of just make them look and remember the joy. Because as we printed them and we talked about them, and oh my gosh, you guys remember this? It was all of us talking and having fun. And then they all hung them all up. And after Christmas, yes, we take it all down, but they'll take these pictures, and one by one we each We're going to put them into an album so we can continue to look at them and build on them. Because no matter what, even in any bad situation, there's always joy. Always joy. And we need to remember that God has a plan for us. And just like Mary was not prepared to become a mom and couldn't believe it, when she learned of the news and how important this was, imagine the joy she felt that she was going to be the mother to Jesus. Just pure joy. So no matter what's going on, boys and girls, there is always joy to be had. I will be back in a minute. I have one crying. I will be back. 1 second. Hello, I'm back. Sorry, I thought my husband was going to hear her crying, but he didn't. So I had to stop a second, and now she is zonked on the couch, my little 4-year-old. But like I was saying, Mary found out she's going to have this baby that was of so importance. And we all know, and I know you all know, that your moms and your dads and your grandparents love you so very much. And so Mary, when she found this out, the joy that she feels and the joy that she got when she held Jesus for the first time got adjusted to the news. No matter, and at that time, back in the Bible time, for her to be having a baby, not being married, there was so much negative that she was would have experienced. But when she knew how important this was, she believed in God and knew that this must be true. And she accepted it. All of the good, bad. And that's what we need to do, is always remember there is always good with God. Always. God always comes out on top. So just like for simple things as a family, and maybe you have some things that you've gotten to do that you wouldn't have done at home if we weren't in a quarantine. And hopefully there's some good things. And I'm sure there's things that you're missing doing too. Missing maybe going to Sunday school, maybe missing some sporting events right now. Maybe some dance or piano or other things that you're not able to do right now. And hopefully you'll be able to do those things soon. But we just need to find joy in everything and know with God there's always joy. He always comes out on top. So what we are going to do now is do a quick science experiment. And I had to wait till my husband wasn't here so that I could do it in the living room. You won't tell. Okay, so what you need for this experiment, and I attached an email, is we're gonna take 4 cups. Hopefully I don't spill. And we're going to pour 4 different ingredients. We have milk, honey, Karo syrup, and vegetable oil. So we are going to put some of each of these, kind of enough. Honey, sticky corn syrup, add some milk, and we add some olive oil, or vegetable oil. Okay. Oh, that one's heavy. So what we are going to do, this is God, this is Jesus, this is God's love. Okay, this is God, this is good, right? This is God. So what we're going to do next, we're going to take this cup, and we're going to pour all the ingredients into that cup. I'm just going to color a couple of these just so we can kind of tell the difference between them. I'm just going to put some food coloring in there. Okay. And take the cup. We're just going to pour each of these in. And these will say are like obstacles that we encounter, maybe some bumps in the road. Throughout our week. Let's see if my honey comes out very good. It's kind of sticky. Maybe next time we'll put the food coloring in the honey. Then maybe we'll see. I want you to look as it settles here. What's at the top? The olive oil, God, right? He's at the top. No matter what we poured in after, he's still on top. Everything else went down. Well, now you might say, well, maybe it was in the order you poured it in. Well, let's try it again. So we'll put the ingredients. I knew that was going to happen. All right. I'm kind of klutzy, I'm not going to lie. So we'll put the olive oil, cover on, in case it spills. And maybe don't do this in your living room. Maybe ask mom or dad. You should do this. Now we'll put the milk. Okay. And then we got corn syrup. And the honey. So this time, like I said, I think we'll just put it in the honey just because it's a closer color to the olive oil. And then it's just gonna... All right, so we got our 4 mixed, okay? And it really doesn't matter, we'll just, the reason we're putting the olive oil in first is because we're saying God is always first, okay? So if we put God always first, and then let's do the honey. Do the honey. It doesn't matter the order. This is like, maybe we're a little sassy to mom, or you know, we just had a bad day. These are things that, or just the craziness that's going on. Let's pour corn syrup in. And then we'll add some milk and we'll see what happens. So, and now we have this one. And what again is at the top? Can you see that? God. No matter what's going on, boys and girls, no matter what, when you have God, He always comes out on top. He brings us joy. And no matter what you're going through, know with Him there's always joy. Always joy to be found. So let's see now. We got these two. Let's see what happens when we combine them. See if I can do this without spilling. One. And here's the other one. All right. We're going to let this settle a minute. We have them both combined. It's settling. It's still working on the little bubbles settling, but you can see God's still at the top. This is one, I tried it with the neighbor girl. She wanted to do a Sunday school in this experiment. You can see she mixed the 2 cups. She used the same colors, so obviously hers is a little more, ours is a little different colors, but it's the same. God always comes out on top, boys and girls. So this week, remember the joy that Mary felt when she, finally accepted, and when the angel told her, and she believed, she had such a strong belief in God, that there is joy. Every day God gives us joy. Even in crazy times like now, there's so many things to find joy in. I hope you have lots of things that you can say bring you joy and that you get to experience. And even when you're having kind of a bad day, that find the good, find the joy. Try this experiment. Try it with the only thing that you need to use is the vegetable oil. Try my bad elbow. Try it with some different liquids and let me know what happens if the vegetable still rises. Because God, boys and girls, especially now more than ever, as we prepare in this Advent season for his birth and the reason for the season, he's with us and he has joy for us in every day. Take time and appreciate those little things that bring you joy for years to come, and God is one of those things, the very number one, along with our family, friends. Those people will bring you joy the longest. And God is the best gift you can ever get, because every day it's a gift that just keeps giving. So I hope you have a great week. I hope school is going great. I miss you so very much. And wish there was a way that we could see each other soon. But I'm always here. I'm only a phone call, a text, an email away. And so take care. And we will see you next week. Next week is our last week. But see the email for the science experiment and let me know how it goes. Have a great week. Bye.